A very, very warm welcome. It was raining now, it is hot and humid, but still it's a great day and we are lucky to be here, we are lucky to be alive. Good health is the foundation of a fulfilling life. You often hear the phrase, health is wealth. And while it may sound like a cliche, it is a timeless truth. In today's conversation, we are diving deep into the essentials of well-being, how to nurture our bodies, make mindful food choices, adopt sustainable habits, and most importantly, take a preventive approach to health. Joining us today is a true pioneer in holistic wellness, someone whose insights have empowered thousands to take charge of their health before illness strikes. His guidance on nutrition, lifestyle, and preventive care is widely respected and closely followed. It is my pleasure to welcome Luke. All of us, can we give him a big round of applause?
Maria, thanks to you and Pallavi for having us, help Goa get healthier. So appreciate that.
Our pleasure. That has always been something that we have encouraged. In fact, from 2011, we have been organizing workshops. These workshops have a variety of topics that we've been doing. I have some of our patrons who've been there with us from 2011. To name a few, we have Lida and Zoya, who've been there with us for nearly 15 years. This is the 15th year going. So our focus has always been to educate, to motivate, and to encourage people to look after themselves. So without much ado, I have already introduced Luke. He doesn't need introduction, right, Luke? Fine. So let us start. Luke, double congratulations. Double congratulations. Luke has just launched his book 2 days ago, and he is also a part of the Prime Minister's initiative, which he's going to tell us about. Luke, tell us about your book as well as initiative.
All right, great. We just released a book called, it's our 7th book, and it's called A Calm Prescription. Now, a lot of people say, Luke, why haven't you written on nutrition, on cancer? Because I think after 10 years or 13 years of being in this practice, people don't need more medicine. We don't need more knowledge on nutrition. Everyone here knows what to eat and what not to eat. We don't need more information on exercise. We know what we should do and what we shouldn't. Of course, you want to be an expert, then you take expertise advice. The biggest issue right now in our country and in our lives is the lack of calm. Chronic stress has become the biggest driver. So when you read this book, you will understand. The book starts off with the top oncologists in our country, cardiologists, not just from India, but from across the world, who now say we no longer see disease, we see stress. When I see a tumor, I see stress in this person's body. I'm doing a bypass surgery, I see stress. And that's the reason we wrote the book, because, we can't go on about nutrition. How much more is there to know about it? But the point is, why, at this point, the biggest problem in society is a lack of action. We know what to do, but we don't do it. Of course, we have genuine problems like pesticides, our food chain is messed up, we have pollution upcoming right now, we have stressful lives, relationships have become more stressful, teens are going through problems of peer pressure, managing a digital life. So there's a lot happening around, and that's what's robbed us of our calm. And that's the #1 reason for suffering and disease today. So that's why we wrote the book. For the Prime Minister, I think it was in February, we got an invite from the Prime Minister directly asking us to create a diet plan for him and for India, which could replicate how all of us, we don't have to have a lot of money, we don't have to have a lot of fancy stuff. How we could take Indian ingredients and meet our protein macros, our fat, because everyone thinks vegetarians don't get enough of protein. Vegans don't get enough of protein. Well, yes, there is an issue, but there are ways to manage it. And then I was invited to Delhi to present it to him and for the country, and currently we're working to uphold his vision on obesity, on how we can prevent obesity, how we can prevent diabetes, because just a small statistic which isn't fun, in another 2 to 3 years, our diabetics would have reached 400 million. And we don't even have quarter of the medical infrastructure to treat that many people. So we're focused on prevention now. How can we help people not move from pre-diabetes to diabetes? How can we educate people to live a nice life, but cut down obesity, cut down oil consumption just a little bit? And our last project is to get nutrition into schools. So we've launched the Bharat Lifestyle and Nutrition Classroom, which is free for every school across the country, every university across the country in different languages. And every month we make a menu for schools, cafeterias, and universities, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, which the entire country can actually use. So this has started off 3 months, and we're hoping that everyone can contribute in ways to at least just put in those little actions, that's all, so that we can contribute towards the vision.
So you said 3 months. In 3 months, have you found any difference? I mean, do you go to the schools? Do you check with the, the board of directors or whoever? How much and how effective is this happening? I mean, on the students?
So we've had a lot of schools download. We've had a lot of parents use it more in the schools. The menus. Again, the effectiveness of a program is dependent on the people.
Very true.
So a beautiful conversation when our Honorable Prime Minister and I were talking about this. There's only so much that anyone can do. Finally, it's up to the people to take action and put it into power. And that's what I said right now. All of us in this room, we already know how to lead a healthy lifestyle. It's complicated when you have a disease because you've got to eat differently, manage side effects of certain treatments. But all of us right now know what to do. Students, adults, senior citizens. The question is, how do we put that into action? Why do we not have consistency? Why do we miss out on discipline? So that's what he mentioned as well. The effectiveness of anything in our country is dependent on people contributing. It's easy for people to sit on social media and pull down one another and constantly create toxic environments, but very few people, they want great relationships, but they don't take the right actions. They want great bodies, but they're not willing to align their actions with what they want. People want to get better mental health and emotional health, but they're not willing to align their actions with what they truly want. So we're hoping that people start doing it. The best response have come from the parents, more than the schools. Because the parents, if the schools don't do it, at least these are the menus that we'll start following from home. So we see it to be positive.
But that is a very positive side.
Yes.
Because for children to do whatever they have to do, I mean, there are parents out here, and if you want your children to eat in a particular way, it is you, it starts with you. Yeah. So I think that's going fantastically. Now you have been saying, in fact he said it, I think 2 or 3 times, that we know what to do, but yet we neglect ourselves. Besides being lazy, besides having the excuse, which I give as well, I'm so busy, I have no time. Besides paucity of time, what are the other, you come across so many people, what are some of the excuses we give, and how is it possible for us to do something? Can you give us a magic trick?
I can write a book on excuses that we've got over the last couple of years. I mean, the most amazing excuses of why people can't do things. It's not about laziness. It's not that people are lazy. It's absolutely not. See, everything starts in the human mind. If you've made your work more important than your health, you will align actions to your work. If you've made your health more important than other things, you will align actions to it. So, I mean, my specialty is cancer. We do integrative oncology. So we're dealing with terminal patients, 1st stage, 0 stage. When they get a disease, health now becomes their priority. What changed? Their value proposition. When you start to align value to your health, you don't need to be motivated to work out. People who are dependent on motivation have not yet decided that they want to achieve something. When you're inspired, you do it. If your work inspires you, you do it. If travel inspires you, you do it. Motivation is an emotion. It can fade in and fade out. But discipline is a decision. So there's a big difference. People are not lazy. It's just that their value proposition is not aligned. So when you start to lose your health, that's when people start to take care of their health. Why? Because they realize, I have to now value my health. So we work with the busiest people in the country and in the world, from world leaders to whatever. Even they have time. And now you would say, oh, but Luke, they have a chef and they have a trainer. Still, these are excuses we like to tell ourselves to show that we can't do it. No, it's time. You can have all the time in the world, a trainer and a chef, but still not work out. The point is, when you make health valuable, so even a lot of students, but Luke, it's not important for us right now. That's okay. That's okay. That's where schools come in. That's where parents come in. Your children will do what they see you doing. As simple as that. You beautifully put it that way. If you're eating junk, your children believe that that's the right way to do it. If you're partying out every night, your children believe that that's how our life should be when we grow up. So the point is, we start by leading by example, and two, coming back to why we don't do it. So how many of you worked out today? I know it's Sunday morning and it's cool, but how many of you, any of you, worked out? Why? Some hands up, some hands down. Why? Does it mean the rest of the people are lazy? No. Does it mean the others who put their hands up are better than you? Absolutely not. It clearly talks about it's valuable for them. Maybe it makes them happy, maybe they need to do it. So the whole idea is, when you attach value to the goal that you want in life, you don't need motivation anymore. So today, if you decide, and health is not complicated. It is not complicated. If you can give your body 30 minutes of movement a day, 2 out of 3 meals, right? Your sleep is extremely important. And do something for your mental health, whatever it is that makes you happy. Spending time with real people, real friends, meditating, whatever it is that you like, nature, going to the beach, that's up to you. Just add a little bit of that. Our healthiest and longest living people do that. The other people who struggle in and out are the ones who have complicated everything. Oh no, but my cold bath isn't set at the right temperature. Oh no, the electricity went off, my infrared panels are not working, and all of that. These are all complicated excuses. We need simplicity, and it's not because I'm saying that. It's what the human body requires. We have a very powerful immune system that protects us. The immune system needs very little. It's got a massive intelligence. You just give it what I told you, the right food. Of course you can have a wrong meal. I had deep fried puris for breakfast today. Am I worried about it? Absolutely not. It's an insignificant part contributing towards our health. I do it every day, it's a problem. I do it and I don't work out, it's a problem. From 3 I move to 6, it's a problem. I overeat. That's complication of health. I don't know anyone who's sick because they had an extra bag of chips, they had an ice cream, they had 2 desserts in a week. It is purely the consistency of our actions. And when we align our action with value, like you buy something expensive, do you have to be motivated to look after it? No, why not? Because it's valuable to you. You've assigned value. Unfortunately today we've not assigned enough of value to the things that we need to do. We want to protect our mental health, but it's not valuable to us. It's not valuable to us. So once you make value in your mind to what you want, and it's not just to your health, it's any goal you want in life. If your relationship is valuable, you will align actions to it. So it's not laziness, it's not that we need to do more, it's just that we first need to make the change in our mindsets.
Right. I'm so happy and so glad he said he had a puri, because I picked up a samosa. I've not eaten
and a samosa also.
I intend to have it. So I'm really feeling at ease now. So Luke has given me permission to have that. Look, over the years, our perspective of health has changed. And a big shift came during the pandemic. How, in your opinion, has this shift come about? And what do you think, how do people take and consider their health today?
See, I think people who are more addicted to social media's definition of health are all the ones who are suffering today. Because by now think you should have that great body that you see on Instagram every day. You should be enlightened and meditating every single day if that's what you've been following on Instagram. It gives you a very false perspective. Can you learn from content? Absolutely yes, depending on what you follow, what you put in your mind. But people have put more confusion in their mind. There's a content overload. Which protein, how much? Or people are not, they've lost connection with common sense, which is what we call vitamin C. They don't understand that, do I really need this? Just because someone else is doing it. Like we handle most of Bollywood. And people will say, Luke, I'll pay you this money. Just give me Shilpa Shetty's diet. Give me Vidya Balan's diet, all of that. And I'm like, I'm happy to give it to you, but do you really think you look like that if you follow the diet? The answer is no. But people are so addicted that if they live like that, I can live like that. Oh, I got some more money in my life, now let me change my lifestyle and try to look like them. But the point is, overload of content is actually what has messed up everything right now. So do we actually need more content at this point? Does anyone need more content, or do we need more action? We already know the basics, right? But we're still chasing content because it's presented in such amazing ways. Today you'll have a doctor dancing to sell you a tablet. You'll have a nutritionist, shedding off more clothes to show their body and say that this protein shake helped me get you there. And the point is we're believing it because the human mind is a very fragile, powerful garden. What you put in becomes your conscious mind. It's as simple as that. Your beliefs are dependent on what you constantly feed in your mind. We learned multiplication tables back in school on repetition. Why repetition? Because the only language the subconscious mind understands is repetition. Brushing our teeth. Does anyone need to be reminded to brush their teeth? No. Why? Your mom reminded you and you did it. Repetition with action forms your strongest habits or your worst habits. So the drink keeps repeating. With a poor lifestyle, it becomes your lifestyle. It becomes your habit. So I think the biggest issue right now, and I would not really blame the pandemic. We lost lives then. We also are losing lives right now. It's really dependent on what the media wants to show you. You lose a ton of cancer patients every month. Now if the media starts to focus on that like they focused on the Air India crash, that'll become the subject in our head at this particular point. But people are dying all the time. Now two groups emerged from the pandemic. A group that was highly motivated to change their lives and look after their health, and a group that got worse with their health because they had the abundance of time, television, Instagram, and everything else. So again, the problem was not what the pandemic produced. The problem is still human behavior. What we choose. What we choose. If we go through another pandemic again, we'll have two groups that will use the time to better their health and groups that will waste away their health. So it finally comes down to the decisions that we are making. But the perception of health is now changing because it's coming from a space of fear. Every day someone's dying of a cardiac arrest, Instagram's throwing it in front of you, news channels are, and you think, oh, that could be me. I'm 35, I'm 40. So fear is driving change, which is not always the best thing. When fear drives any decision in life, the decisions come from a space of desperation, searching for shortcuts, quick fixes, all of that, all of these little things. It has to come from my health is what gets me through life every day. Tell me one thing that you can do without your health, now and in the future. Nothing. But our mind will say, no, but I need to provide for my children, work hard, do all of that, but also look after your health. A lot of people come and say, Luke, I'm a pilot. Our jobs are difficult. Show me all the pilots who are sick. Then all pilots should be sick. CEOs of companies. Oh, Luke, you don't know how it is. We're on a flight every day. Show me all the CEOs who are sick. Show me all the teachers who are sick. Show me all the students who are sick. Everyone's not sick. That means people are making different choices and aligning different actions. But the human mind likes to blame work, life, relationships, children. These are the excuses we feed ourselves because excuses make us feel a little bit better for the things that we don't do. So the perception of health right now is changing. It's nice, but it's also dangerous because a lot of people are looking for shortcuts. There are no shortcuts, and there will never be. If there were shortcuts right now, we wouldn't be here speaking about health. Everyone would do it. If there was a magic weight loss drug, everyone would be on it. People would take loans and EMIs for a weight loss drug if they all worked. But the point is there are no shortcuts to health because the human body doesn't work on the principle of math. It works on biology, chemistry, physiology, and an intelligence that even scientists, doctors, nutritionists are yet to understand. We're microscopic marvels of engineering. And we try to bring in all of our standard, rigid, take this vitamin C, take this B complex, do a cold bath, and you expect sudden great health. It's not working, it's clear. We have to come back to simplicity. We need little knowledge, right knowledge, but more action.
And we have to come back to basics.
Basics, yeah.
So for anything, for us to understand, he gave the example of tables. To do math sums, sometimes you need those tables. And in the same way, to take action for our own health, we require to understand what the basic principles, the foundation of good health are. What are the basics? Can you tell us what are the foundations of good health?
So the foundations, everything has fundamentals in life. I was in Dubai 3 months ago, and I had the privilege of having a coffee with the chief architect of the Burj. Okay, so you know my first question is going to be like, how? He said, Luke, it's very, very simple. You have to have the idea, the blueprint, and then a lot of sheikhs' money to put it together. But the point that I picked up, everything, no matter how complicated, has fundamentals. Engineers will understand this. Doctors will understand this. If we don't know anatomy, there's no way I can treat a disease. I can treat it Instagram style. That, clove oil is great for a tooth pain. Or let's take apple cider vinegar and garlic and clean out all the blockages in our heart. Okay? But when you know anatomy, you understand that these are great remedies. They can make you healthier, but it's never going to take out the plaque from your heart. Never. So every human body, all of us, have fundamentals. And it's not my fundamentals, it's what the human body needs. It's based on anatomy and physiology. Number one is the raw material. What is the raw material? The food that we eat. You're either feeding health or you're feeding disease. Period. That's it. Most of us are feeding emotions. But you're either feeding health or you're feeding disease. Period. I'm feeding a clean artery that can transport blood through without any additional pressure, or I am feeding the buildup of plaque, which can start at the age of 12 and express itself in our 40s and 50s. The raw material is food and oxygen. How many of you right now are even breathing to your normal capacity? Forget about full capacity. None of us. And then that's why pranayama makes us feel so good. Why does it make us feel so good? We're only sending more oxygen to our brain. And that's the way we're all supposed to breathe. But when we're stressed out in life, or we've gotten so used to shallow breathing, that's why half of us are tired. And then we think we need more carbs, or we think, oh, something's wrong, or I've not found my purpose in life, and all they need is to just sometimes breathe a little bit more. More oxygen. That's another raw material. Lack of oxygen, COVID was a fine example to see how many people, had to bribe their ways into finding oxygen cylinders just to keep their saturation levels high. These are the key ingredients, raw material, that the human body requires. The second fundamental is movement. I'm not even going to say exercise. Movement. The more sedentary you are, the more inflamed you are. And inflammation is every disease. Out of 100% of diseases, 96% of them are inflammatory, which means they're caused by chronic or systemic inflammation. 4 to 5%, highly genetic. No matter how fit you are, if you got that bad gene, it's going to happen to you. That's a small proportion, can be controlled by epigenetics today. So cancer comes under what? 95% of the cancers are lifestyle-driven cancers. 5% highly genetic. India has this bad habit of, oh, but my father had diabetes, so even I have diabetes. No. Type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle disease. Type 1 it can be hereditary. We've also inherited the bad lifestyles of our parents. But we're not looking at that. We like excuses so we don't have to do anything. Oh, but this aunt had breast cancer and, I have no connection. No connection. There can be a gene, but there's a lot that you can do with your lifestyle. So the second fundamental is movement. Now, what kind of movement? Again, it's not what I think you need or what your trainer thinks you need. What does your body need? You tell me now. You need endurance, stamina, flexibility, mobility, so that as you age, you don't bend down to pick up something and you have a strain. You want your knees to function till you're 80, 90. You want your hips to work for you. You want to be able to get up from a chair without assistance. Work backwards now. That's the kind of movement your exercises should have. You need strength. You need muscle. I'm not talking about bodybuilder muscle. I'm talking about skeletal muscle, which is a huge issue in our country. We have a lack of skeletal muscle, and that's why most women, by the time today, perimenopause is no longer 47. It's 43. Menopause is 46. You can have all the excuses. Men don't escape this. We go through something called andropause, where our testosterone falls. 40, now 38. There's a bigger problem beyond the hot flushes and everything else, the weight gain. The bigger problem is these hormones fluctuating is putting your heart into massive risk, cognitive decline. What's rising? Dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Look at the statistics. Connect the dots to all of these cognitive issues because of our hormones changing. Prostate issues for men. increased rapidly. Why? Is it because of red meat? No. Most of my clients with prostate issues are vegetarians. Meat is the smallest part of it. Inflammation is the biggest part of it, and you're depleting testosterone levels. So when you have muscle or you train muscle, you don't need a gym for that. You can train muscle through yoga, through Pilates, through light dumbbells at home, your own body weight. Simple push-ups, squats, lunges, things that we learned PT classes back in school. But hey, that's not fancy enough for us anymore, right? Right? PT isn't fancy enough for us. What did we learn as basics? Push-ups, squats, pull-ups. The only 3 exercises that you actually need. Because if you can do those exercises, that's what your body needs when you're 60, 70, 80, and 90. Your body doesn't need abs. It looks good. Technically, you don't need it. We're focusing on the wrong things. Lower back pain is at its highest right now. Why? Tight calf muscles, tight hamstrings, tight glutes. When these muscles are tight, it pulls on your knee. You have a knee problem. When your knee gets tight, there's no flexibility, and every time you walk, it pulls on your lower back. And that's how you get lower back pain, in most cases, if it's not an accident. So when you look at movement right now, how do you make a program which gives you everything for you to have a holistic life? Of course, if you're an athlete, a sports person, you train differently. So now, can yoga help me? Absolutely, yes. With flexibility, with mobility, with strength, with cardiovascular, pranayama. Can weights help me, or using my own body weight? Absolutely, yes. Once in a way, stretch classes, just opening up your body, stretching, which yoga should basically do for you? Yes. Running, brisk walking, swimming, badminton, a sport? Absolutely, yes. Do these sound like fun things to do? Yes. You don't have to be the person who goes to the gym every day, back bicep day, chest tricep day. Do it. I don't have a problem with that. But are you training holistically? It's so great you can bench press, but you don't have flexibility. What's the point? That's not what your body needs. That's what your picture on Instagram needs. The point is, you need to understand and make your goal according to what the body needs. Everyone says sitting is the new smoking, right? How many of us have jobs where we have to sit? We don't have the ability. A pilot doing a Bombay-New York flight non-stop will sit for 14.5 hours. The point is not sitting. It's what you do after sitting. So if I'm sitting right now, my glutes, my quads, my knees, my lower back, they're not engaged. My core is not engaged. So if I'm in a job that sits, I must do 3 or 4 exercises that has a counter effect of sitting. So whether it's a bridge pose, whether it's touching my toes, whether it's a slight back bend. So it's not impossible. A lot of people, but Luke, I have a sitting job. I can never get rid of my lower back pain. Of course you can. By doing the counter activity of it. So in yoga, when you do a back bend, what are you also told to do? A forward bend. The muscle has to move both ways. So these are the movements that we need. This is fundamental to human health. One of the most powerful ways to prevent a reoccurrence of cancer today is exercise, is movement, because of your blood flow, your lymphatic system, and your immune system. So that's fundamental number 2. The third fundamental is sleep, period. Doesn't matter who you follow on Instagram, who's sleeping for 4 hours. There are a few people in the world who can sleep for 4 hours. They have a gene, a particular gene. Don't think you have the gene, okay? A few people have it. And they're super intelligent people. Not that you're not intelligent, but don't get me wrong. Okay, don't use it as an excuse. Sleep is where the magic happens. Every oncologist knows that when you're getting chemo, when you're taking your drug, it's not working for you at that point. It's working for you when you sleep. The mechanism of medicine will work mostly when you sleep. You fall down, you get a cut. Do you see it healing during the day? You sleep, you wake up, you see a scab. What does that mean? While you were sleeping, growth, repair, hormonal balance, all the magic happens while you sleep. You're working out a muscle. The muscle doesn't grow after the workout or during the workout. It grows while you are sleeping. Anabolic and catabolic processes. Your hair grows while you sleep. Men, you ever found your beard growing during the day? No, you wake up with stubble, signifying growth. When women miss the last cycle of their REMs and non-REMs of sleep, they wake up with a hormonal imbalance, the leading cause of PCOS, PCOD, and everything else. You can give your kids the best diet, but if they're sleep deprived, combined with stress, which usually follows because you're sleep deprived, PCOS, endometriosis, infertility are the biggest issues connected to that. Today, a cardiologist will tell you most heart attacks and cardiac arrests have a direct correlation with sleep deprivation, because when you're sleep deprived, you produce inflammation automatically in every artery of the human body. So sleep is a fundamental, which is honestly non-negotiable. Now I know, but Luke, I have this but. Okay, we all have buts and what ifs. My point is, try to get a little bit better. Maybe you don't have to watch the second episode. Watch one. Maybe you don't have to scroll at night. Maybe you don't have to party every night. Maybe you don't have to socialize every night. You see, everyone has a choice. Now you align it with the fundamental. If it sounds important for you, great. Look, never forget, if you're a parent, never forget your baby. How many hours did they sleep when they were born? 16, 17, why? Because growth can only happen when you sleep, and that's how they grew. And when you're a teenager, I'll be honest to y'all, because I'm not here to preach, as a teenager you can do with lesser sleep. Okay? You can actually do with lesser sleep. But as you hit your 23s and 24s, you need to go back to that cycle of sleep. So there are different phases of life that works for all of us. And the last fundamental is your state of mind, your emotional health. Now what is this? That you should be happy all the time? No. No. How you feel about yourself. What do you do to nourish your emotions? Of course we'll have problems. I'm sure everyone over here has some problem or the other. How do you manage it? Has your stress gotten the better of you? Is it controlling the way you eat, the way you sleep, not allowing you to sleep at night? Most people's stress comes from the want to be in control. I want to be in control of my grades. I'm stressed now. I want to be in control of my future. Most people's stress comes from the want and need to be in control. And then there's genuine stress. A parent suffering from cancer, you're a caregiver, you're managing work, you're managing a child, that's all real stress. But we do a simple exercise with people. Think of all the stress you have in your life, people and things, okay? And very simply, what is in your control? Mark a tick. What is out of your control? Mark an X. Where you marked a tick, what action can I take? And take it. That's the only thing you can do. Where you've marked an X, there is nothing to do but let it go. Now when you do this exercise, you'll find that most of your energy is going into the X's. Things and people that can never, ever be controlled. Because life teaches us that we are in control of our future. But the one thing, if you ever learn, if you really want to learn emotional intelligence, is uncertainty should be embraced, because everything is uncertain. You can plant seeds for your child's education, for your future, retirement. You can only plant seeds, but you are never in control of what can happen. And that is people's biggest stress today, the biggest stress. And so people who are spiritually inclined go to religion. It constantly teaches you to accept, surrender, let go, but take the actions that you should. So these are the fundamentals. Now, if any of these fundamentals are not working, we have a problem in the human body. So when you try to fix a problem or a disease, please take your medicine, whatever your doctor tells you. But you also have to start putting these fundamentals back into place. Because medicine can treat the symptom, and it's excellent, it can save your life. But you have to address the root cause of the problem if you actually want to improve, and you actually want to look at preventive health. So these are the basic fundamentals of the human body. Yeah.
You just spoke about problems and stress. We all have problems, stress. You know, I read somewhere, Mark Twain once said, I had a lot of problems in my life, and some of them actually happened. So sometimes our problems are all in our head more than anything else. Look, today obesity is an epidemic. People are dieting, people are exercising, but I know, I struggle with it at times. We have a problem with fat loss, with weight loss. What are some of the mistakes that we make, and what can we do to correct the course?
Okay, so I think the biggest mistake again is in the mind. We think that losing weight is a function of diet control and exercise, but it isn't. Diet control and exercise is a fundamental. It's supposed to work at a linear, uniform level in the body. It can't work. Weight loss and fat loss, it can be quite complicated and quite easy. Most people today struggling with fat loss is because they have a hormonal issue. Too much estrogen and very little progesterone and testosterone. So let me break it down gender-wise. Okay, for a woman who's struggling to lose weight, arms are getting better, legs, but this fat in the belly isn't moving. You have to start looking at it hormonally. Most of that is actually estrogen. And now what can you relate to this? Always look at the data, follow the patterns. A lot of abdominal fat, most of these women will have cysts or fibroids or endometriosis or PCOS or PCOD. It's not a gym thing, it's not a diet thing, it's hormonal. You have to first correct your hormonal balance and the weight will start sliding off. But these women, for the right reasons, start to get frustrated. So they'll do more intense workouts, which is not the best thing to balance your hormones. Not the best thing to balance your thyroid. If you have a thyroid problem, your workout should be consistent, but not high intensity. Your thyroid actually slows down and then your medication increases. The third thing is, how does the body work? A little bit of science right now, because if you understand this, it's for men and for women. How do I burn the fat that is already stored on my body? Okay, you can do all the exercise in the world, it's not going to budge. Okay, think of insulin. Everyone knows what insulin is, right? I eat a meal right now, let's say I eat an apple, okay? It breaks down into sugar, my blood sugar rises. Perfectly working body. My pancreas will produce insulin. Insulin goes and knocks at my cell doors, open up, and pushes the blood sugar in the cells, and my blood sugar levels come back to normal. So in a diabetic, insulin is knocking at the cells, but the cells are not opening because they're inflamed. Inflammation. So now your doctor has to give you medication or more insulin. Now, if you want to burn body fat, insulin, think of insulin as a key. It has to be at the lowest level in your body to open up the fat cells so you can burn fat as energy. It has to be low. If it's high, you can be working out 2 hours. You'll see marathon runners who still have big stomachs, but you'll think, but they train so much, but they're not losing weight because it's how they're eating. So if you're eating too many carbs, you're eating at the wrong time, you never allow insulin to come down to the level where it can actually open up your fat cells to be used as energy. That's why fasting works for some people. Because by the time you're on your 12th hour of fasting, insulin has come really low. So now it opens up your fat cells for energy. And you start burning fat. So the one word that you need to understand is not starvation. In fact, people who try to starve themselves will put on more weight because you slow down your body's metabolism. Calorie deficit. If you want to lose weight, all you need to do is reduce your food a little bit. So at breakfast, take 2 spoons less of what you take. At lunch, take 2 spoons. I'm giving you an example. Now, if you're eating 3 meals in a day, that's 2 for 6 spoons less, multiplied by 7 days in a week. And you will start to find that your fat is reducing. Why? Because you're allowing your body to burn through a deficit. Of course, you've got to couple it with your exercise, and that's how it works. Now, for people who have a hormonal issue, Ozempic and Mounjaro, why does it work? Why does it work? It's a GLP. What does it do? It cuts down your appetite. That's all. And because it's cut down your appetite, you eat less, you lose weight. So if you could maintain the discipline of eating less, you don't need Mounjaro and Ozempic, except for some very highly metabolic diseases. It works on that concept. It's not a magic drug. It's just helped you suppress the appetite so you don't have to use willpower. That's how it works. So fat loss is also a product of consistency. You need to be consistent every day, not intense, consistency. Because when you're consistently burning energy, your body changes its rhythm of energy. It's like a hybrid car. It knows when to change between electricity and fuel. The body is either functioning on your carbohydrate energy, glycogen, or on fat. Which energy source do you want it to? On fat. So if I'm eating too many carbs, I'm always functioning on carb energy. So what I can also do is look at my plate, still eat your carbs, but it should be the least on your plate. Increase the protein in vegetables so that you don't feel hungry. Because protein and veggies are high in fiber, protein is protein, it's high satiety. Just by making these little changes, you will start to lose weight. And of course, there's a disclaimer. If you're on steroids, autoimmune conditions, it's a little more difficult because steroids come in between weight loss. It makes it a little bit more difficult. So that is it. Now, you can do all of these things and you can be sleep deprived. Sleep deprivation and fat gain are directly proportionate to each other because of two hormones called ghrelin and leptin. So if you're sleep deprived, and there are different people. Some people can sleep less and actually become very thin because it cuts their appetite. But you may not be in that lucky category. And sleep will create more inflammation. Inflammation will create a problem with insulin, and your problem is insulin. That's why diabetics find it very difficult to lose weight, because the moment a doctor puts them on insulin, it's always at a high level. So they struggle to lose weight. So that is how fat loss works. You can stress yourself into fat gain. I have women who are pro athletes, great sleep, but they're so stressed out, they're high cortisol, high adrenaline, and more body fat. So it's the fundamentals. Now I need all of you to reflect. Which fundamental in my life can I do a little bit better? That's it. Start from there. Start from there. And you will find your answer. The ones who are looking at losing weight, look at the fundamentals. Yeah, this makes sense. I can do this better. And just start off with that consistently.
You just spoke about autoimmune conditions. I know so many people in my own home itself. There is someone with autoimmune conditions. Why are autoimmune conditions today on the rise?
Yeah, it's very simple. 96% of autoimmune problems are caused by chronic stress. Let's understand what autoimmune is. Your immune system is supposed to protect you, but over here, it's attacking you. It takes something very serious for your own body to decide to start to attack you. Sometimes it's a gene, powerful gene. Sometimes it's a particular food that you're eating, but you're intolerant towards it. Like we have patients who come to us and we just remove gluten and dairy, and every symptom goes into remission because it was food that was causing their immune systems to be erratic. So sometimes it's a depletion of a simple vitamin like B12 that affects your myelin sheath and you have multiple sclerosis. Arthritis, it's affecting your own joints and cartilage. So what else keeps your immune system erratic, on the edge? Like right now, we're possibly all breathing in some pathogen or germ, and our immune systems are working beautifully, and it's coming back down to baseline, coming back down to baseline. In an autoimmune patient, the immune system doesn't come back down to baseline. It's always erratic. And because it's erratic, you're in a fight and flight mode, sympathetic nervous system, high cortisol, high adrenaline, and you have an autoimmune condition, which is why the only medication that works is an immunosuppressant, also known as a steroid, that does the opposite. It lowers your immune system and you get into remission because your immune system was behaving erratically. So stress is at the top, and that's why it's increasing, because look in life, stress is increasing. 2, the quality of food has changed. How many of you could eat wheat and have milk easily when you were kids, and nowadays it doesn't suit you at all? You get bloated, it's all changed for us. The quality has changed. Our food chain is pretty messed up. So you want to stay away from inflammatory foods like wheat, milk, if you have these problems. 3rd is you want to know your genetic line. If someone had vitiligo, eczema, there's a high chance that you may get it, but today with epigenetics, by changing your lifestyle, you can actually put it into remission. And maybe your dependency on a steroid or immunosuppressant would come down to the bare minimum. That's how it is. Babies are born with eczema today. How? Why? You can go directly into the mother's 9-month journey and see how stressed they were. There are direct correlations of all of these things. So these are the main reasons of autoimmune conditions today. Sleep deprivation. Imagine you're sleep deprived and you wake up. How is your immune system going to be? Baseline or erratic? Erratic. It didn't have a chance to rejuvenate. Your immune system is your army. The armies work best when they're well rested. If you're not well rested, your internal army, your WBCs, your neutrophils, your NK cells, which is what protects you or makes you sick, they're not strong enough. Ever seen a child who skipped on sleep during exam times and how easily they got a cold and a flu and a cough? Immune systems crash within 1-2 nights of sleep deprivation. So autoimmune is a big, big problem, but it's related to all of these little things that we're talking about today. Yeah.
On Instagram and all the other social media, we hear so much about probiotics. Everybody is promoting probiotics. We know it's good for our gut health. But are there any adverse effects to consuming maybe more of probiotics, or maybe consuming it on a continuous basis?
So India leads the world when it comes to gut problems. Acidity, bloating, the most common things. We're the highest consumers of antacids. We're also the highest consumers of probiotics. And yet we have the biggest gut issues. There's no correlation between probiotics and better gut health in a general level. Now I'm going through an antibiotic. Of course a prebiotic and a probiotic is going to be very beneficiary for me. I'm recovering from a food poisoning, a stomach bug, or I'm traveling to a new country where my entire diet may change. A probiotic can help me maintain the right flora. I'm doing a steroid, taking a steroid, I may need a probiotic. Think of taking a probiotic blindly. Think of it as, let me give you an example, like just throwing a sapling into the Amazon and expecting it to grow. Our gut has trillions of varieties of fungi, bacteria, trillions. No one has yet figured out what can work for which. So science takes out the most common, lactobacillus, L. reuteri, Akkermansia. These are the most common ones, and they build probiotics around it. Because we know when a patient's going through chemo, these are the bacteria being depleted, so put this probiotic in. And the stronger the probiotic doesn't mean it's better. First you had 25 billion, now you have 50 billion, now you have 100 billion CFU. And it sounds all great. Oh, this must be, it'll sort out my gut. It isn't. It isn't. It's an ecology within your gut. You have good bacteria and you have bad bacteria. When you get bloated, you get gassy, that's because your bad bacteria has become more than the good bacteria. What does the bad bacteria grow on? It's a living organism. What does it love to eat? Sugar, carbohydrates. So the more you keep eating that, now you have more bad bacteria and less good bacteria. You have a problem. Just throwing a probiotic in isn't going to solve that problem. But now, if I strategically, maybe I have a gut dysbiosis or I have whatever it is, I slowly cut down my carbs, I reduce my sugar consumption, I start to work out so I'm creating more blood circulation, and I'm having a simple bowl of yogurt or curd or pickle or fermented vegetables, which are our natural live bacterias. Most of you will solve your problem. Now, if you're an antibiotic, would I say have curd alone? No, I would say have curd and a probiotic, because antibiotics are powerful. So probiotics are not your magic drug. No way. People are selling probiotics in the name of weight loss today. It's impossible it can work. Yes, it is true. The better gut bacteria you have, it can support weight loss. But that you can get through your own foods. So people are trying to add more rather than delete. What should I delete to make my gut health better? You're having a lot of protein in your diet. Fantastic. You can have bloating. Why? It's not because of your gut. You don't need a probiotic. You need stomach acid. Because you need stomach acid to break down protein, especially if we eat fish, we eat meat, we eat chicken. You need your apple cider vinegar. You need your lemon. These make the stomach acidic so you can produce acid and break down. And that's why you don't get so gassy when you eat protein the right way. So probiotics have to be done in a your prebiotics are more important than your probiotics. Probiotics are useless without prebiotics. What are your prebiotics? Your raw onion, your raw garlic, all of your fruits, your psyllium husk, also known as isabgol. These are all prebiotic fibers. In fact, if you need to take something, take a prebiotic. Let your body take the raw material and make its own probiotic rather than taking the probiotic directly.
You spoke about fruits just now. We are aware that it's better to have whole fruits rather than have fruit juices. How do fruits help in fat loss, in weight loss?
So fruits can't directly help you in fat loss and weight loss. In fact, if you have a fatty liver, if you have a compromised liver, you shouldn't be eating fruits. Fruits will actually make your liver more damaged because they contain something called fructose, which gets metabolized in the liver. But if you have a problem with your liver, you're not metabolizing fructose. Your diabetes will get worse. You can get diabetes, and your fatty liver will move from a grade 1 to a grade 2. Which is why people who come to us with fatty livers or liver cancers, the first thing we actually remove is fruit until we reduce their grade, and then we slowly add the fruit back. Now, if you're metabolically fit, which means you don't have a fatty liver, you don't have an issue with your liver, fruit's actually your best friend. You can eat a ton of fruits and never put on weight. They have no fat. They have no fiber. But you got to be 100% sure that you don't have diabetes, pre-diabetes, and a liver problem. At the same time, should we be overeating fruits just because they sound healthy? No, nature's not given it to us in abundance. We can buy it in abundance. That's why an apple comes in one portion size. That's your portion. A papaya, you cut it, you make it in small bowls. A mango is one portion or half a portion. So eating more fruit will not get us more benefits. Eating no fruit, yeah, where are we going to get our vitamins and minerals from? If you want to put a multivitamin bottle and a fruit at the side, which one do you think is going to win? The fruit. 100%. So eat your fruits according to your season. According to your season. If you think I'm putting on weight, metabolically unfit, eat the low GI fruits. You know, give me 2 of the healthiest fruits in our country, which are economical to all of us, as well as easily available.
Bananas.
Guava. Who said guava? Guava and amla are the most powerful fruits in our country. And we've scientifically broken it down to compare to blueberries and kiwis, which are not really native to us, but we have some fancy patients who fly down blueberries and stuff just to get better health. But when you compare it scientifically, you break down vitamin by vitamin, mineral by mineral. Blueberries are great for the people who eat it in the countries they grow. For us, guava and amla. And then of course you have your papaya, your seasonal fruits, your musambi, your pineapples are fantastic, your watermelons, if they're not adulterated, fantastic at the right season. But guava and amla are your largest sources of vitamin C and fiber. And you'll see laborers on the road, you know, you have these carts and they're having guava cut with little chili powder and salt. They're actually having the healthiest meal of the day. You can't overeat a guava. You can't overeat an amla. It's so rich in fiber. So look at food that way. You can overeat junk food? All of us can, right? Why? It's got no fiber. It's got no nutrients. So that's the difference. Foods that fill you up quickly are nutrient dense. That's exactly what your body's looking for. Yeah.
Right. Raw food versus cooked food. What's your take on that?
It depends. If you have a weak digestive system, you should be cooking your food, because you don't have the ability to break down raw. If you can do raw food, it's fantastic. But I do believe with, I don't know Ayurveda, but I do believe with many, many principles of Ayurveda. Like eating raw after sunset is not the best. And I'll tell you my reasoning. Because scientifically, after sunsets, our digestive systems all slow down, whether we like it or not. They all slow down. So breaking down raw food is a little bit more tough. So you want to get your raws in the earlier part of the day when your digestive fire is at its highest. So there's no issues with raw, but you have colitis, you have Crohn's, you have ulcerative colitis, you have IBS. You want to be very, very careful of raw food. The more gentle raw foods will be like cucumber slices. But if you're doing all these raw green juices with spinach and celery, 1 is raw, 2 is the oxalates, very high in oxalates. When we cook vegetables, you reduce the oxalate content. You lose a little bit of nutrition. There are certain vegetables which are better cooked, like tomatoes. Tomatoes are way better cooked if you want to get every health benefit out of it. Raw, not the best. Can make you acidic, nightshade. So certain vegetables, all your crucifers, like your broccoli, your cabbage, your cauliflower, it's better off steamed and cooked than raw, because it can affect your thyroid. So nature's given it to us in different ways. It's really not a choice. Like I would get my raws done by lunchtime. But by dinner, it would be a vegetable soup, something where you can cook the vegetables, extract vitamins and nutrition. Carrots, for women. It's so amazing for your hormones. Which one, raw or cooked? Again, it depends, so have both. Sometimes cook it, sometimes have raw. Raw carrots can help you reduce estrogen because of the fiber binding thing. But cooked carrots can also help you with the beta carotene, which is great for your hair and for your skin. So it's very different for everyone. It can't be one against the other. But if you have a weak digestive system, you start off with cooked and then slowly you move into raw eventually.
We just got time for another couple of questions. This question is about exercise. What elements would you say make a truly holistic exercise practice? What should we include in our exercise? You've spoken about yoga, you've spoken about so much about movement. What should it be?
So anything that can make you a little bit more flexible is always going to be good for you. Like if you can't touch your toes without bending your knees. Okay, of course, if you have a genuine problem, it is. What is your body telling you? It's not about feeling ashamed. What is your body telling you? That your spine has already started shortening. Or it's telling you that your glutes are too tight. And you need strong glutes for your hip flexors, which is connected to your spine. So any workout that can increase your flexibility, it doesn't mean you have to become a yoga pro and the leg comes on top of your head. All of that is fantastic, but it doesn't have to mean that way. It could just mean that today I can touch my fingertips, 2 months later I can touch my palms. Improve a little bit with flexibility, consistently, no extremes. So one is flexibility. Two is mobility. My shoulder mobility. Can I do full circles? Am I able to move my joints in the right way? Do I get pains and injuries very easily? Then I want to improve my mobility. Especially if you're lifting heavier weights, you want more mobility. Because we have one of our pro Goa natural bodybuilders sitting over here. Good to see you. Yeah, he can't be who he is if he hadn't invested in mobility. Sangam, you want to stand up for a bit? 19 years represented Goa, won internationally in Dubai. Yeah. He's from my village, Tivim, very disciplined young boy. He can't be the person he is without mobility. You can have muscle, but muscle needs mobility. Please sit. So the point is, everything has to be holistic in nature. Everything. So we need mobility, we need flexibility. I need endurance. Doesn't mean I have to finish a marathon. But if I'm doing 3 push-ups today, can I do 10 after 3 months? Endurance is what's going to help me fight disease. Most people who survive heart attacks is because they have endurance and stamina. What do you think heals you when you're sick? Energy. Energy. If your body's weak on energy, the disease gets the better of you. You can take your meds, all of that stuff. Everything is energy. So we create energy through movement. So I want stamina, I want endurance, and I want strength. I should be able to carry my own body weight. I should be able to squat, reach down, get up, come, lift a suitcase without getting a frozen shoulder. Just these little basic things. Now you may say, Luke, 15 years ago in Goa, we didn't need this. Yeah, because we were more active. We were climbing trees, we were playing outdoors, we were doing things. We were pulling up water from our well at home. My mom was doing that. We all had different movements. Today we're just trying to create those movements in a little more fancy environment because none of us are doing those things. And then we need mental exercise. What do we do as mental exercises? Whether they're crosswords, they're puzzles, they're interacting in great conversations with people that make you think, all of these things. What's depleting mental energy? Constant scrolling, constant watching of the news, constantly filling your things that leave you with a byproduct of fear rather than inspiration. Most cognitive decline is happening that way today. So these are the exercises that we all need. Now you decide what fits into your life. For some of you, you'll say Pilates. Some of you may say yoga. Some of you say a walk, a run, meditating. Even spending time in nature is a mental exercise, by the way. A walk on the beach is mental exercise. Anything in nature stimulates the mind. The only one exercise that wakes up every part of your brain is swimming. Because when you swim, okay, there's only one thing your body is thinking of. Am I going to drown? How do I keep this body alive? It's a beautiful exercise, swimming. And if you can't swim, even being in water is a fantastic exercise. So I'm just giving you examples of things that are easy for us to do and movements that we can incorporate into our life at any age. I know we have a lot of senior citizens over here today, but if you fill your mind with Instagram, you'll already be demotivated to start. But I can promise you, even if you start with 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, another very important exercise for all of us is balance. The more you balance, like when you do yoga, you stand on one leg, you are incorporating the use of your entire brain. Entire brain. You can try it right now. Stand on one leg with your eyes open, and then just close your eyes. What's going to happen? Your body's going to fight to maintain. And people go, oh, I have a strong core. No, you'll still fall. It's not your core. It's your mind connecting with your body. And these are simple exercises that we can do anywhere and at any time. So that's how you would build a holistic program.
Should we ask all of them to stand on their one leg?
I mean, if they want to, they can. But
oh my goodness, I will have to go and help many of them because I won't be doing it. All right, yeah. So our last question is, prevention is better than cure. We all know that. What are some lifestyle changes, or what are some routines we should get into our everyday life to keep illness at bay?
So I think everyone already knows what I've spoken about. I would like to stress more on what is the first thing that you do in the morning. Because the way you start your day determines every action and what you're going to do. Some people wake up already knowing they're not going to work out. Some people wake up knowing that they want to work out, but life gets in the way and they can't. That 1 hour in the morning is your sacred time. Okay? Try if you can, and it's possible. Okay? Try not to get your phone on for the first hour. Now, if you have something to do, it'll be easy. If you have nothing to do, it's going to be a struggle. Okay? That 1 hour is your time whether you decide you want to plan your day. Most people never set intentions for the day. What is an intention? An intention is simple. I'm going to do this exercise for 30 minutes. I'm going to be eating this for lunch, dinner. You're already setting something. You're not just throwing yourself in the day blind. Morning rituals are extremely sacred. And I'll tell you why. It's not because I think it's sacred. When you wake up, your cortisol is already high. Your subconscious mind is like a sponge. Because when you wake up, the body is, your conscious mind knows you're waking up in your bed, in your bedroom, and your surroundings. But your subconscious mind is, what's around? Anything that can threaten me, anything that can, that's how the subconscious mind works. So it's very open to programming. That's why most people pray in the morning, they chant in the morning. There's a reason why this happens, because your subconscious mind can be programmed. People practice affirmations in the morning, they plan their goals in the morning, they visualize. Every pro athlete visualizes the game in the morning when they wake up. Which move, how's it going to be, all of that stuff, because it's going into your subconscious mind. Plan your day. Go to the toilet, finish your rituals, if you want to fit in your workout at that time, whatever it is, and then put your phone on. Because once you put your phone on, you're derailed. Mostly everyone is derailed. Put your phone on after that and be on it for how long you want. Because I think it's all important for us now to set these little actions that we need to take every day. Like if I had to ask all of you, what is, I don't want to know what your future plans are, but what is that one action that you know if you start taking it, some part of your health can change? Just that. Just that. And start doing it. You don't need an elaborate plan. So look at my fundamentals that I shared with you. Break down each. Okay, in mental health, I can take this action. Nutrition, I'm perfect. Exercise, I can get a little bit better. Just one little action that you plan. And you know, the most successful people, success also has its own meaning, but successful people to me are people who have consistently built things that can impact and add value. This is what they do every morning. They have a plan in their mind. The moment you turn on social media, you have no plan. You're like you've handed your emotions over to a toxic world out there that's going to control every thought of yours and every action of yours. So just reflect on the pillars and remember, keep it simple. I'm not saying you got to get 8 hours. It's not 8 hours anyway of sleep. It's the quality that matters. You sleep deeply for 6 hours, you wake up rested, it's 6 hours. Just take these little actions. I've not asked you all to stop partying. I've not asked you all to stop socializing. Continue doing that if it makes you happy, but not at the cost of the fundamentals. The moment some part of your life starts to cost the fundamentals, you have a problem. If some of you have a condition or a disease right now, please continue taking your medicines, but look at the fundamentals and you will find gaps that you need to fill. You will find gaps. So that's my advice. There's no superfood or anything that's going to work.
Thank you, Lou. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Are you allowing questions?
Yes, I am allowing questions.
Please, no medical questions. I'm not legally allowed to answer if I don't have your report, so okay. No medical questions, please.
I'm going to take this opportunity right now, not just only to say thank you to Luke, but also to take what Luke has said, you know, take it forward. As I said at the beginning, Navin Times and the Depot Group of companies, we have always been holding up exercise, nutrition, good health. And in this vein that Luke has been speaking about movement, about mobility, we have organized on the 27th of July another workshop. It's called Qigong. Qigong is like Tai Chi, and we would love to invite you. I am around. You can ask me a few questions about it. And since we have your emails, we are going to send you an invite. It's called Qigong. It's like Tai Chi. It's a Chinese mind and body. I'd like to invite Luke as well. I know he's very busy, but if you're free, it's on the 27th of July. We are now going to have a question and answer session. Like Luke said, please do not ask any medical questions. Everything else he's going to answer.
The mediocre people or public in general could afford some mediocre kind of vegetables but would be poor ingredients. So what would you suggest?
All right.
Thank you.
So breakfast, does everyone feel hungry at breakfast time? Number one? No, right? So we got to listen to our bodies. Some people will need breakfast. If you're vegetarian, I mean, I would never want to start my day with sugar first. Because you're just going to start the sugar process, insulin, and you're going to have cravings throughout the day. So if I look anatomically at the body and scientifically at food, like I would personally start off with some almonds and nuts because I get my good fats. And then a protein, I'm non-vegetarian, I would have eggs. If you're vegetarian, you would try to get your chilas or your moong dal chilas and all of that stuff. And I'm having a bread or a puri, I'm mixing it. So you want to make sure what you put the first thing in your body will determine how your hunger cravings will be for the rest of the day. So that's how it is when it comes to a very simple breakfast. So whatever options you have, whether it's breakfast, lunch or dinner, what does your body need at every hour of the day to function? Protein, carbs, cabbage. There's an alternative for everything. Blueberries, I would eat blueberries in my country. Because they don't grow in our country. And we have strawberries. We have gooseberries, which is the umla. So I would obviously go with local as my first option. So when it looks at vegetables, the first most important thing to do is, right now in Goa, what is growing? Anyone. So you go with what is growing naturally at this particular point. The exotic vegetables will be there throughout the year. And that should make you wonder, how is it there throughout the year? What is it sprayed with? Is it modified? Is it hybrid? So we will always have alternatives. And I know you bring the cost point in, okay? But of course traditional will always win. Always win. I mean, now it comes down to the practicality in your life. Right? I would do reduced microwave, but I can't preach that to you in your life if you have your own issues of time and stuff like that. But yes, I can answer your question directly that traditional cooking, the food cooking slowly on the gas is way more better than microwave food. Way more better, more nutritious. Now once in a way the kids want something crispy, you're using an air fryer, all of that stuff. But I would try not to make it your most daily way of cooking. A lot of plastic around, and that plastic, the BPA starts to leach in because of the high heat. That can be cancer causing. But directly, a microwave is not cancer causing.
My question is, like, as a layman, when we approach nutritionists or dietitians, somebody tells you to go in for intermittent meals. Somebody tells you to take, you go to another one, they say have, something every 2 hours, take a small meal. Then somebody says just 2 meals and nothing.
It can work for different people. For some people, intermittent fasting works beautifully. For some people, it doesn't. For some people, eating every 2 hours, especially if you're diabetic, can work. For other people, it doesn't. Okay. The point is, whenever you go to a nutritionist or doctor or anything, ask them why. Ask them why. The why is important. Health is not a cookie cutter approach. Ask them why, and then say, on my body type, will this work? Just because it works on a different body type, it doesn't mean. I know people who lose weight without even reducing. For some people, the moment they cut carbs, they lose weight. But everyone's different. So even a doctor, you have to ask why. And I hope all of you know your rights as citizens when it comes to even the medical world. You have a right to ask a doctor any question you want in terms of side effects, your body type, why will this work for me? I heard it didn't work. And they are supposed to give you information. It's your right to information. But the point is, none of us are asking why, because we're searching for the quickest thing. That, oh, will 2 hours work for me? Why will intermittent work for me? And if it's intermittent, how many hours? Who gets to decide how many hours? The people who have figured out intermittent fasting are the ones who have done it and realized over time that, okay, 14 works for me. 16 works for me.
Fine.
It depends. It depends on what you want. Alkaline doesn't mean you're going to have better health. I can take water and add lemon to it and I've made alkaline water. That's how it is. So all of these are fads and they have no connection with human health. They sound good, they sound great. You can eat cucumber and it's one of the most alkaline foods as well. The more important point is the quality of your water. That needs to be tested very regularly. Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi Luke. Thank you for all the amazing information you've given.
Thank you.
You had mentioned something about fruits being bad for liver. Right?
If you have a fatty liver.
Yeah. So what would you say? What would be good for that?
For a fatty liver?
Yeah.
Vegetables.
Vegetables cooked.
The best way to reverse a fatty liver, if it's non-alcoholic, it is cutting down your carbohydrates and exercising. You can reverse a grade 4 to a grade 0. If it's alcoholic fatty liver, what is the one thing that you think we all need to do? But
So cooked vegetable?
yeah, cooked vegetables, raw vegetables are fine because they don't have fructose, right? The reason you're stopping fruits is because they're high in fructose. So you would stop fruits, you would stop honey, you would stop most junk because it's got sucralose and fructose added, but a fatty liver is 100% reversible. And it is mainly carbohydrates and lack of exercise. So that's all. And then you can add the fruits in. As the grade comes down, you can start adding 1 fruit, 2 fruits based on your fibroscan or based on your reports. You can decide to start. So it's not a permanent thing.
Okay. And my second question is, you spoke about autoimmune diseases. So when someone is on steroids due to autoimmune and then they do put on weight, what would you recommend post that?
So when they're on a steroid, what does a steroid do? A steroid depletes zinc, iron, magnesium, and copper. So you have to put those vitamins back into your body so that the steroid is not creating other issues. Will you still put on weight? Yes, but what is the weight that you put on? It's usually water weight. Steroids make the body retain water. So working out, maintaining your water intake, most people on steroids cut down their water because they think I'll retain more water. But you should actually drink more water when you're on a steroid. Your functional training, challenging muscle, will metabolically change the way your body works as a diuretic. So that's why on a steroid, the doctors will give you a diuretic, which is not the best for your kidney, but if you have a natural diuretic, like what's our most natural diuretic in Goa? Anyone? Which is local to us and people have used it for the longest time for kidney issues.
Coconut water.
Sorry?
Coconut water.
Coconut water, yeah, you can have that if hopefully someone doesn't have a kidney issue. Absolutely, absolutely. Barley water is your most natural diuretic. You boil it in water and you have it and your body actually pushes out water. So these are some of the things that you can do on a steroid, and but strength training would be the best because the more muscle you carry, your metabolic rate is higher. Your automatic, release of water will be way higher.
Thank you so much.
And you can never be on creatine if you're doing a steroid. Okay? Yeah, you just got to remember that. Because creatine also holds on to water.
My son is addicted to protein shakes. He's into sports. So he's also getting my husband addicted to that. So in the long run, they're saying that my health will be hampered if I don't take them. I'm addicted to my ABC juice in the morning. So they say, let's see who goes. So there's a competition at home.
The question is who goes where, Manisha?
Recently we had this young girl who expired last week with a cardiac arrest. So the conversation got into a debate after that. So how good are these protein shakes in the long run?
So the bigger problem you have as a family is this addiction problem. That's where I see the biggest challenge. The smallest issue is the protein shake and your ABC juice. So the point is a protein shake cannot create a heart attack, period. A protein shake, yes, in excess can damage your kidneys. It can cause insulin spikes. Are you vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
We are non-vegetarian.
Yeah, so if you're a non-vegetarian, you should have the least dependency on a protein shake. Now, if you're a vegetarian and an athlete, all our cricket players, all our football players, elite, international class are all on protein shakes if they're vegetarians because they need to meet their macros. If you're non-vegetarian, I would do the minimum amount of protein shake and get natural protein from food. Now, if they're athletes, if they're, like, again, we have a pro bodybuilder over there, he will have to take a protein shake even if he's non-vegetarian because his demands are more. But the point is having protein shakes in replacement of natural protein is the concerning part. So there's no debate to be won over here and no one dies of a heart attack because of protein shakes. People die of heart attacks because of sleep deprivation. Everything you see in the news, only the famous people who are dying will be covered, right? Mr. Narona in Asagaon, who died recently, never made it to the papers. He had a heart attack, he was my patient. He never made it to the media. Why? Why? There's a darker side of the media and the lives that they cover. It's as simple as that. Half the cases that we see, no one will talk about the drug usage. No one will talk about the anabolic injections. No one will talk about the drips that they keep taking for better skin, which puts an overall burden on the heart. But what will come into focus is the protein shake and everything else. So please, if you're non-vegetarian, my only advice is reduce the amount of protein shakes and get it from natural foods. That's better protein, cleaner protein. And secondly, we have just started studying brands because I'm at a loss of what do we tell our patients to eat anymore. Every brand is adulterated. Out of 40 of the best brands of protein, only 3 in our country passed the test. The rest of them have heavy metals, adulteration, protein spikes, and amino spikes. And so is it with all of the rest of the supplements. So if you are not vegetarian, please use your natural foods, and depending on his age and your husband's age and stuff like that. But protein is not the longevity marker. They are right about muscle. If you train muscle and I'm looking at your arms, you do have muscle mass, you're toned. Work out, follow the fundamentals. And yes, if you want to live longer, the happiest people live longer by the way. You know, genuinely happy, not fake, page-free happiness. The ones who have real relations are light, all of that stuff. They can have extra weight, all of that stuff. But if they're happy in their mind, these are the people who live the longest. The ones who are extreme about everything, calculating everything, they have too much stress in their head. So please don't worry about it, but I would caution them, have a protein shake. I have a protein shake every day, especially when I travel, because I can't get full meals. But when I'm home, I will get all my food from all my protein from my vegetarian, my non-vegetarian. So please, protein shake has nothing to do with a heart attack. Now if you're doing protein shake and creatine and taking steroids, yeah, that's a cocktail form. Or you're working out heavy in the gym and not sleeping at night. That's a bigger worry for a heart attack than protein. Okay, so that's how you want to look at protein shakes. They're not magical drinks. They're supposed to supplement, you know, in between when you cannot meet your macros. That's how it is. It's not a meal replacement. And your ABC juice, you can go ahead.
Which are the 3 that passed the test?
It's all on my website. You can go ahead and look at that because we don't speak about it as endorsements. You can follow the page. Every single brand that is tested is listed. And you'll find plant proteins, whey proteins, magnesiums, omegas, spices. You'll be surprised in our country. We are yet to find a spice brand that is without heavy metals. I don't want to make this moment negative for you. We have tested the topmost brands. Topmost brands. If they're not adulterated, they have heavy metals in them. So that's why I'm saying everyone just be cautious about the things that we're doing. Go back to the simple basics and focus on what is within your control. That is how it is. Yeah. All right. Next question.
Hi, Luke.
Yeah, hi.
What's your opinion on Manjaro and Ozempic for non-diabetics who want to use it as weight loss?
Yeah, so I think it's one of the most ignorant moves for people to make that way because the drug was never made for that reason. The drug was made for people who are over 100 kilos with metabolic syndrome. And that's why they work on those people effectively. So now I can speak from experience because we have a ton of people, as you would know. I've already tried to lose 4, 5 kilos, 8 kilos without diabetes on Manjaro. Manjaro and Ozempic doesn't teach you behavioral change. So if my doctor gives you Manjaro, you lose weight, he can't give you Manjaro forever. If the Manjaro stops and your appetite comes and you've not yet learned self-control, discipline, consistency and workout, you will put on double or triple the weight. And that is what is happening right now. And your doctor may say, okay, after 6 months I can give you 1 more. And then after that he can't give you any more. So it is an extremely misused drug. Now some people that use it have to change it. It doesn't come without its side effects. Extreme gut problems, muscle wasting, cognitive issues, and in some cases thyroid problems, which can be managed. But right drug for the right people. It's being misused massively. The drug was made and it's saving lives, a lot of lives, but it's being misused by a lot of people. So the point is, if you can guarantee that when you lose the weight, you will change your behavior and be disciplined and consistent, go ahead for the drug, but you'll still fail. Why? Because the question is, why couldn't you be consistent right now? Why couldn't you be disciplined right now? So it's a big problem in our country right now, and it should not be misused at all. There's a reason for it, and it should be taken for a metabolic syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay, last question, please.
Yeah. I would just like to ask you again the role of coffee in our diet, and what is the relationship with black coffee with fatty liver? Because many doctors recommend black coffee helps to lose fatty liver. Firstly.
Yeah, great. So how many cups of coffee did they tell you to have for a fatty liver?
I just have one cup in the morning.
And that won't work. Black coffee is excellent for a fatty liver and for liver health, but it's 3 cups a day. So you see everything like green tea. How many of you drink green tea because it's great for prevention of cancer, prostate and stuff? It is, but how many cups? 4 cups a day. 1 cup a day will not do anything. This is what nutrition science is. Instagram sign says, oh, black coffee is great for your thing, and everyone's having black coffee. It is. So coffee is excellent for your health, number one, if it suits you. Number two, not the frappuccinos and all of that stuff. Plain black coffee. You can have it with milk if you're not lactose intolerant. Of course, you want to try to avoid the sugar if you want to get the health benefits. Black coffee is great for diabetes, but the moment you add milk, the milk solids will break down the chlorogenic acid that helps you reduce blood sugar. So the medicine is in black coffee. That's all it is. Now, if you have high blood pressure, you have pancreatitis, you may want to be careful if it doesn't allow you to sleep at night. So there are the disclaimers, but good quality black coffee and freshly brewed, not the instant. The instant black coffee is, you could put it in the category of ultra processed and junk because of their cremolates. It's heated very high and there are carcinogens in there. So if you want to really protect your liver, it's a minimum of 2 to 3 cups of coffee in a day to get the liver protective benefits of black coffee. That's how it works.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.